another thing that the book is about for me, and this is not necessarily a gendered thing, although it is gendered in some ways, is the artistic gamble. And how hard it is to make that leap to be an artist. And how many people who are very creative and who feel that they actually have a lot to give artistically don't feel able to do it. And there are lots of reasons. There are practical reasons, you know, but financial reasons, personal reasons, family reasons. But you know, if you think about it, it's a sort of, you're going to say to the world, okay, I know you thought I was going to be a productive member of society, but actually I'm not going to earn any money, and I would like you, if possible, to pay me so that I can stay in my room and make something nobody wants or needs. A couple years, maybe 5, maybe 10. Sound good? How about that? And strangely, especially when parents don't generally say it's a good idea. But it takes a certain, even if all the practical things align and to make it possible, it takes a certain chutzpah, right? It takes a certain hubris. It takes feeling that you have something that is more important than anything else that you could be doing. And that's where I think the situation is somewhat different for girls and boys, or women and men. And I think of it in terms of, I have a daughter and a son, and watching them even when they were small, and our son is the younger one, but when little boys go to nursery school, it was my husband who observed, it's sort of like they're going to the office. So they go in and they hang up their jackets and they say, hey Bob, hey Tom, hey Jack, and then they go in a corner and like make a racetrack or a Lego tower, and maybe they work in groups of 2 or 3, or maybe they work alone, but it's just not that fussy a business. They just get on with it. Whereas the girls have a table in the middle with paper laid out and markers, and the girls come to the table and they sit around the table and they draw and they talk. And you know, the talking involves socializing in a way that the boys are not at that moment engaged in socializing, and it involves pecking orders and judgments. So it involves both the conversation about, I haven't seen that blouse before, is that new? Lucy, where did you get that? Or is that a flower that you're drawing? Because it doesn't look like a flower to me. You're using brown. Is your flower dead? Right? There's that version. And when they get bigger, they move away from the table, and you see them in the playground on the monkey bars, you know, while all the boys are playing football, and the girls are sitting in there, jabber, 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 and that same social imbrication is going on. And then later, when they're parents, that goes on at the school gate, where the mothers say, see Mary, that's the first time I've seen her all term. She hasn't picked up her kid once. She sends a babysitter every day. And she didn't give any money for the holiday presents, and she didn't give anything for the potluck. What kind of mother is Mary, right? So that goes on the whole time. The girls, when you're small, you can step away from the table and play with the boys. That's allowed when you're small. But at some point, you're supposed to come to what is by now a virtual table, and you're supposed to be part of that community. And if you don't, you're a traitor. You're somehow bad. There is a moral judgment that goes with it. So I think for women to make that leap, to step away from the table, is actually a very particular gesture. You know, we don't have a myth of a semi-autistic female genius. We have a lot of semi-autistic male geniuses, a lot of them. And, I mean, there was an article in the New York Times not long ago about how is my son a genius? Is Googled 100 times for every time it's Googled for a girl. Is my daughter pretty? So, you know, yes, feminism, you know, egalitarianism has done a lot, but there are certain sort of underlying cultural, situations that make the artistic gamble, I think, a little different for young women than for men.